Welcome to Legends in the Making. This is the show for founders, parents, and leaders ready to stop performing and start leading. I'm Erin Bowers, and this is where we strip down and return to what matters: clarity, character, and calling. Today's episode, it's not for the faint of heart, because we're not pointing the fingers anymore. We're taking the mirror out and own what we've built. So, today's letter is Dear Legends in the Making. I've been leading for years as a coach, as a business owner, and as a parent. On paper, everything looks fine, but I've noticed something. My team underperforms, my kids don't take initiative, my organization is reactive, not proactive. And for a while, I blamed them. I blamed Gen Z. I blamed the algorithm. I blamed distractions, burned out entitlement. But lately, I've had this whisper in my gut: you're the system, act like it. I haven't led with consistency. I've avoided hard conversations. I've confused being busy with being effective. Now I'm wondering, can I rebuild this from the inside out? Can I lead without performing, or is it too late to reset the culture I helped create? Signed, the one who can't blame anyone anymore. And what a powerful letter, and what a beautiful reflection and transformation. And I think this really hits, where we're currently at as a society is we want to point the finger at somebody else. We see it everywhere. Everywhere. No one wants to take ownership and accountability for what they are doing. And I don't know why we're so afraid of ownership and responsibility, but we have certainly created a culture, and we are now role modeling for future generations of we just pass the buck, we just blame somebody else, versus truly looking internally and asking ourselves, why is this going on? Where do I take ownership and responsibility in this? And when we pass the buck, when we pass the blame, inherently we're building a culture where that's what's accepted. It's not a culture of I'm the one that's responsible for this. And in this, there's a lot of inherent universal truths that we're actually missing. Truly, we are the creators of our own reality. So it's like, if we want something different, we get to build it. If we want to build a different life, you are the architect of that. You don't stumble into alignment. You don't stumble into the culture that you have at work. Ultimately, you are the one creating that. And so are you willing to be the disruptor that actually creates what we should be creating? One of respect, one of love, one of authenticity, one of vulnerability. Like, truly, I was just watching something, and it was a beautiful little video, and it was talking about how the most high vibrational energy that we put out is authenticity. So think about that for a moment. It's a higher vibration than even love. Truly being yourself and being able to give that to the world is the highest vibrational energy that you can exude. And so, in this letter and in this example, you can't truly be yourself if you're blaming if you're feeling victimized and you're not taking ownership and accountability. Ownership is holy. Ownership is saying, I own what I'm doing. It's also detaching from that all your judgments. We think there's right and wrong and good and bad. What if there's just isness? There is no right or wrong or good or bad. There's just being. And am I being in a state of authenticity? Am I being in a state of love? Am I being in a state of joy? Am I being in a state of peace? If I and in those energies, acting from those energies, then yes, somebody may interpret that the wrong way. But at the end of the day, we can look at ourselves and go, you know what? Inherently, I am trying to do the right thing here. I can take that reflection and I can learn and grow from that. And what I have found is I've started to blend this work of, where are we at culturally? And then how do we really move that? How do we move the needle in a much different direction? Because if I look at our world today, our misalignment, our unhappiness within ourselves, our frustration, our lack mentality, our anger, our fear, all of that is keeping us out of alignment from what God truly wants to give us. And if we actually remembered who we are, that we are infinitely abundant, that we are intrinsically good, that we are an emanation of Source itself. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I'm authentic. If we resonated in that and showed up in life that way, our society would shift so fast because we would remember the oneness of who we are with everybody else. And so I would just hearken us back to what are the two universal laws we're here to truly follow. We're here to love God with all of our heart, and we're to love our neighbor as we love ourselves because we're one with all of it. Those are the two things. If we showed up in this world in honor and reverence of knowing that our God is all good, all loving, all knowing, all benevolent, all the things that are inherently amazing, in thanking God for all the greatness that comes into our lives, and we treat other people as we want to be treated, the golden rule, our society would shift so fast. But because we have so much noise and we have separation consciousness where I feel like it's me versus you and you versus me, we're inherently disaligned with the natural law of the truth of who we are all the time. And so then we're reacting from that misalignment without ever questioning what are we doing to create that, or stopping ourselves from reacting and being a part of that. And so when we think of soft standards, what is your standard? I don't talk about goals. What's your standard? What is your standard? What's the expectation that you have? And you should have an expectation of greatness because we are great, exceptional beings. So what's your standard? And if you have soft standards and then you couple that with just the concept of being busy and individual doership, you're going to create passive teams. You're going to create checked out kids. You're going to create dysfunctional business cultures. Like everything is energy. Your business, your team that you're building in any sports arena, there is an energy to it. And do you understand that my alignment with the right energy of potential, of possibility, of high vibrational frequency energies is what then ultimately results in success, not in the individual doership, the busyness that you create within your team. So, we oftentimes think like the system's broken, but the truth is you are the system. You are the creator of your own reality. You're just not in alignment with the truth of how the universe works. And so your misalignment, all your negative emotions are your GPS to go, I'm not in alignment with the truth of who I am. I'm not in alignment with the way God created me to be. God didn't create us out in a state of lack. He didn't create us in a state of unease. He didn't create us in a state of fear. He created us in a state of infinite abundance, of absolute love, of absolute knowingness. And so when we're not aligned with that, then we're in we're fighting the truth of who we are. And so we're always in a constant battle. And that's what we feel, the unrest. The world just becomes a mirror. We think it's all separate to us, but if you really start to look at the world as your mirror, it's a reflection of your internal state. So if you see chaos or feel chaotic inside, what are you going to see in the world outside of you? Nothing but chaos, you know? And we have to be who we have to be what we want the world to be. How we change the world is by shifting who we are. It's not through we're going to change other people. We're going to change other people by changing who we are and the way that we show up. And so you have to ask yourself, what is the system that I am building? How, as the creator of my reality, what is the reality that I'm creating? If we think about like planting seeds, and, I think there's this analogy of like, a good tree bears good fruit. The fruit of your tree is the reflection of the internal state of who you are. So if you have chaotic energy, expect the fruit that you're producing to be chaotic. If you have an internal state of peace, expect that the fruit that you would be bearing would be one of peace. So there's an opportunity for us right now to reset our standards, reset our presence and how we show up. And then ultimately, how do we do that in union with everyone and everything else? And we do that by understanding, A, how the universe works, and then B, stepping into being our authentic version. We have created part of what we're breaking through is being in the truth of who we are, but being in the state of truth of who we are in a state of love. And we ultimately have created this cancel culture where everybody wants to cancel everybody else because they're internally conflicted. And if they say something you don't like, then your way of dealing with it is like, I'm just going to shut them off, or I'm going to berate them, or I'm going to be mean to them, and not understanding that the lesson that you're being mirrored there is, how do I have more internal acceptance of myself? When you're judging others, ultimately you're judging yourself. It's not other people. So when you're passing judgment, the only person you're judging is you. And so we have such a massive opportunity in where the world is at right now to heal our souls, to understand that remembering who we are, coming back to the truth of who we are, and being that in the world is the work that we are here to do. And that work starts at a very young age. And how to anchor that in and not allow the world to sway who you are. Yes, you can observe it, but then it's like, no, this is the truth I am. That is me. I am good. I am kind. I am loving. And not taking what other people do personally and understanding, like, if that's being reflected back to me, where within myself am I still not integrated to holy acceptance of who I am and the way that I show up? So the beauty is we get to begin again and again and again. You don't have to let one bad moment take you down a path. It's an opportunity to come back into ourselves, GPS, and really understand, okay, when that comes up again, I get to respond differently than I did the last time. Have standards for yourself. What are the clear standards? Take a time out, take 5 minutes, go, God, I really just act from an unaligned place. Let me take a time out and come back to myself, because that is not the truth of who I am. How do you start to get clarity? How do you start to find discernment? How do you start to understand what's really true? And what I would anchor in is what's really true. What's really true is God, and what's really true is God's laws of how the universe works. whatever else we're playing with on the 3D plane of what we see come across social media, etc., isn't truth. What's truth is the fact that we are our souls. We are the vibration that we put out. Each one of us has a unique blueprint that is needed on this earth. So canceling any form, that is not how our souls were designed. Our souls were designed to be authentic and be authentically loving. And so can we choose that connection over the comfort or the silencing or the disassociation from who we are? So you are the system. You own it, act like it. And always ask yourself, am I acting from a state of love? Am I acting from a state of love? And if you're not acting from a state of love, take a time out. There's no judgment there. I'm actually not acting from my highest state of being. And how do I come back into alignment with that? And because when we embody that energy, when we carry that energy into the world, that's the invitation for everybody else to access that same invitation. That's how we change the world, because we are embodying what we were not here to do, and everybody else around us joins in. You don't need a better team. You don't need a better family. You don't need anything better. You need to lead from within yourself. And essentially, like, your life depends on it, because it does. And so there's two opportunities to work with me, whether you're the family of a student athlete and you want to come into greater alignment for your child to understand who they are, who they're supposed to be, as well as you as a family. I have a 5-day reset. It's called Raising Exceptional. It's completely free. I do ask that you pay a donation to a charity of my choice, but I want to spend 5 days with you and your student athlete, resetting the standards within your home and getting you on track. And if you're a CEO, business owner, founder, you name it, I also have a 5-day reset around clarity and resetting your energy. So DM me, reach out to me, comment on this episode. I am here. If you want to share your story, reach out. It will be read in the episode as it was in the beginning. We have a huge opportunity to transform this world by doing the work internally within ourselves to transform who we are, so we show up authentically and we give the world the best version of ourselves.